the most famous talk show host in China.
People usually don't believe me when I say I grew up in China with a transgender woman as my role model. But that's simply the truth. She's the most famous host. People from 8-year-old to 80 years old all know her. She has her own program on TV. She was a judge. She's a dancer. She's an amazing dancer, by the way. That's how she got famous originally. And she's a mother of 3 children. She adopted them. She's in an international relationship. She's a Buddhist. She's ethnically Korean. So she also shares her story of how she connects with her culture, and she does her cultural dance as well. It's very beautiful. And she speaks many languages. She lived abroad, very international. And she openly talked about her transition process of how she talked to her family and how she did her surgery back in 95. And that ended up having a little problem because, back in the days, the technology wasn't really that developed yet, and she suffered from complication because of the surgery, but then she was able to pull through and she gained back her ability to walk. It's all amazing, and I learned about all of this on public television in China. But whenever I tell people this, they tell me I'm brainwashed. Like, they rather believe random Chinese people will beat up trans people on the street than believing that we have this amazing trans woman who is thriving over there. Like, you know what's really funny to me is that I never really labeled her as the trans woman before I came to the West, because I wasn't used to putting labels on people. Yeah, sure, she's a trans woman, but I knew her because she's an amazing host. Being a trans woman is just a part of her identity. We call her Big Sister Kim. We never misgender her because gender pronouns in my language doesn't really exist. Everybody's the same pronouns. So it's actually easier for a lot of people to accept the fact that she's a woman. Legally, she's also a woman. And by the way, I'm not blaming anyone right now. I'm just describing the history. So before Western colonization came to Asia, many Asian countries were very open to the LGBTQ community. In ancient China, there's a long history of kings having boyfriends. We even have stories and phrases to describe the love between men. So it was never a problem until Western colonization came and they criminalized LGBTQ community. That's when it all went downhill. But when you look at a community, you can't really look at the current political structure. You also need to look at the history. You need to look at how this community came to being. So,